The diner was unusually calm that morning, the kind of silence that made every clink of a coffee cup echo like a whisper in a chapel. Golden sunlight filtered through the wide windows, reflecting off polished tables and glinting in the glass salt shakers. At his favorite corner booth sat Walter Branson, an 81-year-old Korean War veteran. Every morning at exactly 8:15, he came here, same table, same order, same quiet nod to the waitress who knew his routine by heart. He wore a soft flannel shirt, worn thin at the elbows, and a pair of heavy boots that had trudged through more winters than most people in that diner had lived. His hands trembled slightly as he lifted his cup of black coffee, but his eyes, tired yet steady, carried the quiet strength of a man who had once faced fear and never backed down. But that peaceful morning shattered in an instant. Across the room, a younger man, tall, broad-shouldered, and full of misplaced anger, was shouting at the waitress about his bill. His voice grew louder, harsher, until his gaze landed on Walter, sitting silently and watching. Something about the old man's calmness must have scraped against the thug's fragile pride. Before anyone could react, the man stormed across the floor and slapped Walter across the face. The sound cracked through the diner like a gunshot. Coffee cups rattled. People froze mid-bite. Walter didn't stand. He didn't shout. He simply raised a trembling hand to his cheek, stunned not by the pain, but by the sheer cruelty. If you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Heart-Touching Stories, where true stories remind us that humanity still lives among us. The diner went silent. The waitress, shaking, begged the man to leave, while the rest of the customers stared down at their plates, too afraid to speak. Walter stayed still. He wasn't afraid. He had faced worse. What broke him was realizing how little respect was left in the world. Minutes stretched into an hour. Walter remained seated, partly because his legs felt too heavy, and partly because he had nowhere else to go. The diner had always been his refuge, a place where he was known simply as Mr. Branson, the kind old man who always tipped, even when his pension barely covered the bills. But even that sanctuary felt shattered now. Then, the soft jingle of the diner's door broke the silence. In walked a group of men whose very presence shifted the air. Leather vests covered in bold insignias, tattoos twisting down strong arms, heavy boots striking the tile with quiet authority. They were Hell's Angels. At the center of the group walked a man taller than the rest, his gray streaked beard giving him an air of command. His sharp eyes scanned the diner, and then stopped when they met Walter's. Recognition flashed in both their faces. The biker's name was Thomas Branson, Walter's son, the same son he hadn't spoken to in years. Across the diner, the thug was still there, grinning and chatting with his friend, completely unaware of what was coming. But Thomas noticed the red mark on his father's cheek, and his jaw locked tight. His knuckles whitened. The bikers behind him exchanged glances but stayed silent. The whole diner seemed to stop breathing. Thomas didn't rush forward. He walked calmly, deliberately, to his father's booth, sat across from him, and gently placed a rough, calloused hand over Walter's trembling one. For a long moment, neither spoke. The bond between them didn't need words. Years of silence melted away in that quiet connection. Father and son, soldier and biker, two men bound by love. Walter looked at his boy, now a man hardened by the road but loyal to his core, and pride flickered through his weary eyes. The thug finally turned around, sneering. "What's this? You need your gang to protect you, old man?" He scoffed, puffing out his chest. Thomas didn't even blink. He sat still, his voice calm but filled with steel. "That man you hit," he said evenly, "is my father. He's 81 years old, a war veteran who gave everything for this country. And you thought it made you tough to strike him." The thug's smirk faltered. The air in the room grew heavy. Every customer watched, the silence louder than any shout. Thomas never raised his fist. He didn't need to. His words alone carried the weight of authority, pride, and love. The thug swallowed hard, muttered something under his breath, and backed toward the door. No one followed. His shame would travel farther than any punishment could. Walter finally exhaled. For the first time that morning, a faint, tired smile crossed his face. His son had stood for him, not through violence, but through respect and love. The waitress refilled their cups, whispering a shaky, "Thank you." Around the diner, the other patrons began to speak again, voices softer now, filled with apology and admiration. Some approached Walter, offering their respect, their guilt clear in their eyes. Walter looked at his son and said quietly, "I fought wars long ago, Thomas, but nothing compares to the battle of keeping your family close." Thomas nodded, emotion flickering in his hardened features. The years apart didn't matter anymore. That moment healed what distance had broken. From that day forward, the diner became more than just a place for breakfast. It became a symbol of forgiveness. Walter and Thomas met there often, sometimes joined by Thomas's biker brothers, men who treated the old veteran with a reverence he never asked for but deeply appreciated. Every time Walter walked in, people remembered that morning, when arrogance was silenced not by fists, but by the quiet power of love, loyalty, and respect. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to Heart-Touching Stories, and share it with others. Because no matter how dark the world seems, acts of love and loyalty still have the power to heal what's broken. Walter Branson lived out his final years in peace, no longer just the lonely veteran at the corner booth, but a father who found his son again in the most unexpected way. And to everyone who witnessed it, that diner became a reminder that even in the face of cruelty, respect, family, and kindness will always be the strongest forces of all.